Right, Shalom, I'll give no praise unto Abashima, Shabashim Kohakodash. The honors unto the apostles of great millstone. And honest you brothers to be pushing this truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And above everybody are coming out here to give you this truth for the grace and mercy of Yahweh. Bashim Yahweh Shabashim Kohakodash. Giving no praise unto Abashima, Shabashim Kohakodash. Okay, so this is gonna be a relatively quick video as I go back to the house from the plantation. And the purpose of this video is to basically to encourage studying and making sure you're staying up on researching these particular points that Esau be pushing and checking out whether they be true, which most of the times is lies, and doing your own research to see how deep the rabbit hole goes when it comes to these lies that Esau be pushing out here. And the big lie that's coming to fruition right now is the transition to the CHIB CO2 monitoring system we know as the MLTB system. And that's going to be a big push. That's going to be pushed heavy in the times that we're coming into right now. And obviously they're going to be talking about the warming of the globe and how we got to stop it, how we got to make more moves and move with haste and so on and so forth. But at the back end of that, they're going to be talking about reducing the world's population and so on and so forth. We come in to find out when you study, I think the word is anthropomology, which is the study of man, I believe it is. When you start to study anthropology, archaeology, okay, you start to study geology, geography, all of these particular things. You come to find out there's a lot of information out there that really we don't get taught in a public full system. And there's a reason why they don't teach you these particular things, because ultimately you're easy to be subverted. And even if you was a prolific scientist and you came to the same realization that previous scientists have come to, that was, let's say, against the grain, so to speak, but it was true and factual, it doesn't really matter, right? You could be on BitChute all you like, or you could be on any other one of these streaming sites that's alternative, and you could be screaming at the top of your lungs. Just because you got the truth, the reality of the situation is that Esau understands if the vast majority of the people don't know the truth and you've taught them a lie, then just simple group dynamics dictates that the vast majority of the people are gonna win out. That's just how it works, and that's just how the fooling system works. People are lazy, ain't willing to do the research. Another thing that comes to mind is this idea that there's fossil fuels and it took millions and millions of years to produce all of this gasoline that we're using. You really understand heavy industry, you understand aviation, you come in to find out that there's literally one jetliner uses tons and tons of fuel. Okay, like where is this coming from? Is this just some unprecedented well underneath the ground somewhere? You really come in to find out once you study the science. It's very much possible, and I did a video about this a long time ago. It's very much possible to produce, hydrocarbons. There's a lot of hydrogen underneath the Earth's crust, and obviously there's a lot of carbon out there. It's very easy for these things to be produced. Remember that the Earth underneath the crust is hot and heavy, man. So you could do a lot of stuff with that heat and pressure, so to speak. Okay, so that's a process that's constantly being produced. Okay, that's constantly being produced. Like, petroleum and all of that, it's always being produced. Okay, but I wanted to speak about this, and excuse me, I don't know the intricacies of the science, and I do apologize for that. I don't know the intricacies of the science. I'm not studied in the field of geography and climate. But we know the climate thing, really, they pushed out that onto the people so that they could push this idea that, okay, the climate's changing, we've got to do something about it. Let's take away everything from everybody and fulfill the mantra of the elite that you should own nothing and be happy with it. And we understand that's what they're bringing to the earth, right? But when you really come into finding out that there's many weather cycles, okay, there's many weather cycles, and the ancient people knew these particular things, and they was able to watch the stars to predict what was going to happen within the future, right? They was able to do these particular things, and they understood certain things, not certain things, but really the scripture says everything comes in a cycle, and so do systems within the earth, weather systems, currents, right? The oceanic currents, they function on cycles and patterns. You know, everything really on the earth functions like a program, right? A program, you know, runs, it completes the program, it restarts again. That's how the Most High designed everything, okay? It just works, right? It just repeats. Even man coming up on the face of the earth, it repeats, right? You're in the heavenly realm, you come down to the earth, you live out your life, you go back to the spiritual realm, come back down, and so on and so forth. It's a cycle. And we see, and again, like I said, I apologize, I don't really understand what I'm looking at here, and I'll be the first to say that. But what it appears to be, and certainly we understand that from a scriptural basis, but what it appears to be is that there is periods of times when the earth is heating up and the earth is cooling down, right? And these are periods of time that span 1,000 years. So here it is, you got little small weather systems that's like, okay, you know, every 25 years you got this particular hurricane or whatever. Every 100 years you got this particular heat wave, right? Every 1,000 years you got the earth cooling up or earth cooling down. So unless you got all of the data, which really we're gonna see how deep this thing goes, right? How the Most High has put this whole thing together in the kingdom. But when you really come to the understanding that Esau could just lie about anything, and you don't have the resources, you don't have the know-how to be able to decipher what's what. The only thing you can lean on is the scriptures. That's the only thing you can lean on. When you're really coming to finding out that you need, you know, millions of dollars to do the research, you need time to do the research, you really come into understanding that, look, man, we need Yahweh Shai to understand everything that's going to happen, how everything functions out here. We really need Yahweh Shai. We really need to be upgraded to the point where we live 1,000 years, right? The scripture says we're going to live forever. You really need that time to be able to say, oh, okay, yeah, every 2,000 years, this is what happens on the earth. Okay, let me get ready for it. That's what you really need. But right now, we're in a situation where Esau can manipulate any piece of science. He can use graphs that look like they're trending upwards, but really when you zoom out, they're trending downwards, because you could do that with statistics. This is what a lot of people don't understand. You could say over the last 25 years, the earth is been warming up. And then you zoom out and you see over the last 1,000 years, the earth is really been cooling down. That's what you know as trends. And that's what you know as taking a snapshot of the trend. You can really make the statistic fool people. And this is what these people, they don't understand. They don't understand these particular things. But like I said, we really need Yahweh Shai. Really, we need resources and time to be able to decipher all of these lies that we've gone through. But for now, we could just lean upon the scriptures, and we can understand that everything that Esau is doing right now is a big land grab and a big resource grab. That's what we can understand. That's not the scripture say within the book of Habakkuk, the 2nd chapter. He heapeth unto himself all nations, and he's using the climate thing as the means to do that. Okay, in the kingdom we're gonna be able to say, oh, hold on a minute, look, man, now it's, you know, whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. But right now, you know, we gotta live in a world where it's full of lies. Okay. Anyways, hopefully that's been of edification. Without being, I'm gonna say all praise unto Habashim Mashai, Habashim Kohakodash, double honors unto the apostles of Great Millstone. Honest brothers, we're pushing this truth in sincerity. I'll see you on the next one. Shalom.